Hey Algebra 1, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be looking at lesson 11.2, Box and Whisker Plots. I do have some guided notes for you, so just make sure you have those in front of you and you're ready to get started on them. We're going to be looking for 8 things to fill out, and so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to fill out on our sheet is what a box and whisker plot is, and it basically uses a number line to show the distribution of a set of data. We are going to talk about each one of these value points here that you see a picture of, but this is essentially just a picture or example of what a box and whisker plot will look like. So let's go ahead now and take time to pause the video here, so you can go ahead and write down number 1 in your notes, and then once you're done, click play to see what number 2 is. So for number 2, we're going to talk about interquartile range, and that is just the difference between the third and the first quartile, or basically third quartile minus first quartile. Again, we're going to figure out how to find those quartiles. We also want to know what an outlier is, and that is any data point that is more than 1.5 times the interquartile range from either end of the box. And IQR again stands for this up here, interquartile range. So again, let's go ahead and take time now to pause the video here so you can go ahead and fill out 2 and 3. And once you're done, click play. Let's go on to number 4. So number 4 is specifically going to be a fill in the blank activity or exercise for your notes, and this is the how to make a box and whisker plot. So we're going to refer back to these steps once we get started on question number 5 on the back. So the first thing we want to do is order the data from least to greatest. Next, we want to gather the 5 pieces of information. And if you need to pause it at any time, feel free. I'm just going to kind of slide through these instructions. The first thing we need to find after we've ordered them from least to greatest, what is the least value? What is the greatest value? What is the median? Those are pretty simple. You already know how to do the first 3. The next 2, the lower quartile and the upper quartile, finding those are going to be a little bit different. The lower quartile is the median of the lower half of the data. So once you find the median of your data is not going to be split into 2 parts. You're going to have the lower half and the upper half. So the lower quartile is just finding the median of that lower half, and the upper quartile is finding the upper half's median. Make sure you go ahead and pause here if you need to go ahead and fill in the rest of your blanks. And if you don't need to pause, you can go ahead and continue to allow play so you can see how it is done. We're going to keep going on number 3. So the next step, you would draw a number line. And then for number 4, above the number line, you're going to plot a point for each of the 5 items above. So each of those 5 items that you just included in your notes, you're going to have those written. And it's useful to label them. And I'll show you exactly how to do that in just a moment. From there, after you've drawn the 5 points, you're going to draw a box from the lower quartile all the way up to the upper quartile. So that first slide, you saw a box like this, and the lower quartile is going to be at the end of this box, and the upper quartile would be at the right side of the box, and then the middle would be the median. So inside the box, you're going to draw a vertical line through the median, which is what I did here in purple. And then the whiskers from the box would be the least to greatest. So whatever whisker you have on the left side, that would be the least number on your number line, and whatever number you have on the right side, that'd be your greatest number. Again, this is going to make more sense when you actually get to try one, so just hang in there if your steps aren't really clicking right now. So the next thing we're going to look at is actually how to do a box and whisker plot. So go ahead and flip your paper over, and we're going to try number 5. Now what I'd like for you to do is to go ahead and pause the video here and try to find your 5 sets of data, or your 5 data points. Once you're done finding your 5 data points from the first page, you can click play and see how I construct the number line. Or if you feel like you're ready for it, go ahead and construct everything and then click play to check your answers. Alright, so the very first thing I did was put it in least to greatest order. So there it is. Once I have my numbers in least to greatest order, then I can go and label my 5 data points. So I'm going to do that here on the right hand side. So my least number is 17, and my greatest number is 29. To find the median, remember you can just check off one from the left and one from the right. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm not going to cross them out though because I still have to find the median of other numbers too. And it looks like my median is going to be 21. So this is my median, which means the lower half of the data is from 17 to 20. So to find the lower quartile, I then find the median of this. So I would do one from the left and one from the right. And as I do that, I'm going to come across in between 17 and 19. So 18 would be my lower quartile. And then I'm going to do the same thing for upper quartile. Again, it has to be right in between 26 and 28, which means my upper quartile is 27. Now that I have my 5 points of data, I'm ready to go ahead and do my number line. So I'm going to scooch it down a little bit so we can have more room, and I'm going to go ahead and construct my number line. What I normally do is try to shoot for 10 tick marks on a number line, and then use intervals to fit all of the numbers or fit the range of the numbers. So in this case, I started with the number 15 and jumped up by 2s. Now I'm ready to go ahead and plot all of my numbers. So the very first one I'm going to have is my least. And then I just kind of go in order from my list. My greatest is 29. And then the median and the lower and upper quartiles, that's going to be your box. So the median is 21. It's a vertical line. The lower quartile is 18. So right in between 17 and 19, and the upper quartile is 27. So I'm going to go and make a box from the lower quartile to the upper quartile with that vertical line of the median in the middle. And then I'm going to connect the least value and the greatest value to have the whiskers. Okay, so that's all you really have to do to find a box and whisker plot. Here's the next one you're going to try. It says make a box and whisker plot of the scores. You still have these same scores on your sheet: 14, 16, 20, 5, 22, 30, 16, and 28 points during a tournament. So let's go ahead and pause here so you can try it. And once you're done, click play to check your work of your box and whisker plot. So I went ahead and numbered from least to greatest and found my least and greatest. Now I'm ready to find my median. So again, I'm just checking off one from the left and one from the right. And I get to 16 and 20, so I just want to find the middle of 16 and 20. I can just do that by counting up or just add them together, which would be 36, and divided by 2 gives me 18. So 18 will be my median. And then that's going to create kind of like a line in between these sets of data. So my lower quartile would be in between 14 and 16, which is 15. And my upper quartile is going to be between 22 and 28. That number in between those two would be 25. So once you have all of your 5 data points ready, you can go ahead and start drawing your number line. Remember, 10 tick marks would be just fine. For this one, I used a little bit more to still show the even distribution of my data. So for this one, to fit all of the values I needed, I started at 4 and had to go all the way up to 30. Now I'm ready to go ahead and plot those. I'm going to start with my box, my median, lower quartile, and upper quartile. My median was 8, so that's a vertical line of 18 above. So a vertical line above 18. Lower quartile is 15, so that's another vertical line above that one. And then upper quartile is 25, so that's another box above that. Now I'm going to be ready to show the whiskers. So for the whiskers, my least value was 5. So this is going to be all the way to the left here. And then my greatest value was 30. So once again, we kind of see more of the data is towards the right of the box and whisker plot, and we're actually going to talk about that next. So the number 7 in our notes is just the different type of shapes of box and whisker plots. You have 3 shapes. We have a skewed to the left, and you're going to draw and label each of these in your notes under number 7. The left whisker is longer, and most of the data is on the right side. When it's symmetric, the whiskers are about the same, and the median is in the middle of the plot. The skewed right box and whisker plot means that the right whisker is longer and most of the data should be on the left side for those. We are going to take time now to pause the video here so you can try and write down number 7. Again, make sure that you draw and label each one so you can see the differences, and then we'll talk about number 8. So the last one in number 8, we're just going to be comparing a few different, we're going to be comparing 2 different box and whisker plots. It says the double box and whisker plot represents the test scores for your class and your friend's class. Your class is in blue, your friend's class is in red. Let's go ahead and try to pause the video. We're going to pause the video here and answer the questions in our notes provided at the bottom. And then once you're done, click play so you can check your answer. So identifying the shape of each distribution would just mean, is it skewed left, is it symmetric, or is it skewed right? For your class, we would say that it'd be skewed left because the left whisker is longer, but friend's class, I would say, is almost symmetric. So we would say symmetric for friend. For which class has the greater interquartile range of test scores? Define the interquartile range. Remember, if you flip your paper over, that goes back to question 2. It's the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile, or the lower quartile and the upper quartile. Both of these are the same kind of deal here. So what you had to do for your class is subtract 95 minus 85, and that is 10. And then friend would be 90 minus 70, and that would be 20. So which class has the greater interquartile range of test scores? That one is going to be friend's class, or your friend's class. Okay. The last one, which class has the greater range of test scores? Remember, just range is maximum minus the minimum. And we talked about that in 11.1. So when we find the range, the friend's class would have the greatest range because their range is about 40. We did 100 minus 60. And then for my class, or your class, it would be about, I would say maybe in 33. So your friend's range had the highest, or the greater range. So that's going to conclude our notes today on Box and Whisker Plots. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.